Hello and welcome to a Hatha Yoga practice. Now, Hatha is kind of a basis for a lot of modern practices that you'll see in the yoga community. Ha meaning sun and Tha meaning moon. This is a practice that warms the body and then brings the body back down to a resting space. Kind of pace similar to how you would find your typical Western group exercise classes. This is a great class for beginners and anyone who's wanting more of a holistic benefit of yoga, everything from the strength to the flexibility to the mindfulness, learning how to meditate, learning how to breathe. It's a great all-encompassing class. So I'm excited to bring this to you today. Some things that you might find beneficial: a mat, a block. You could also have 2 blocks if you want. I'll show you how you might use that in a little bit, and a strap. You can also start the practice on a chair if you'd prefer, if sitting on the floor is something that's maybe new to you or you're getting used to it. However, let me show you how you would use the bolster to help you sit on the floor the best. You can so I like a blanket as a bolster because I can fold it all kinds of different ways. I can get it as thick as I want to get it. I can get it as not thick as I want to get it, and I can use it for many different things. Little mic adjustment here, sorry about that. So for a bolster or a blanket, you can set it down and then you'll sit kind of toward the front edge of the bolster and let your pelvis tilt over it. Let me show you what that looks like. Sitting on the bolster, not back here at the back, so we're kind of hanging out, but closer to the front edge so that our pelvis is able to tilt forward and we can get rid of some of that tension in the lower back, sitting up nice and tall with our head aligned over the shoulders. That's where we're going to start practice today. So I invite you to find a fun place, a comfortable place, an easy place for you to sit down today. And let's start our Hatha practice. All of our yoga practices kind of follow this pranayama, which is a breath practice, warming the body, finding some peak postures, cooling the body, and having a mindfulness moment or meditation at the end. And Hatha is exactly like that. So that's our little blueprint for class today. You can almost imagine us going up and down a mountain. As you find a comfortable way to sit, I want you to just bring one hand to your chest and one hand to your belly. Feel free to close your eyes. And just let yourself check in with your breath. I want you to listen versus try to watch. In fact, I'm going to walk and get a secondary block while we're doing this. So this is all about what's going on in your head. As you breathe, I want you to first focus on the hand that's on your chest. Focus on that hand moving, rising and falling. Breathing into the chest. This is called clavicular breathing. Breathing in a way that the clavicles, right up at the top, are moving. Your collarbones are moving. Don't really worry about how we're breathing today. Just breathe. Might be in and out through your nose, might be in and out through your mouth. Just focus on breathing. And now with our hand on our belly, we still have one hand belly, one hand chest. Instead of focusing on the chest rising and falling, focus on the belly moving out and then pulling tight, kind of like you're scooping a little ice cream scoop out of the abdominal muscles up and underneath the ribs as you exhale. Inhale, belly relaxes. Exhale, belly tightens. And the chest this time, it's not moving at all. Inhale, and exhale, scoop. This is called diaphragmatic breathing. So breathing using the diaphragm muscle, the muscle that's really in charge of your breathing at the base of those lungs, strengthening that diaphragm. Now we're moving into what's called a complete breath. You're going to be doing clavicular and diaphragmatic together. So as you inhale, the hands separate. You're moving through the chest. You're also moving through the belly. As you exhale, the hands come closer together without rounding the shoulders, right? We're still sitting tall, ears, shoulders, hips in line. Inhale, then exhale. Big, deep breath, something that's going to promote a relaxation effect throughout the body, get us out of that fight or flight. Also enhancing our lung capacity. Also strengthens our diaphragm and even our core musculature a little bit. Inhale and exhale. A few more breaths here. As we go through our practice, we're going to link some of our poses with our breath. You'll see that more once we get to Ashtanga, but we're going to link some of our movements with our breath. And the breath I want you to focus on is this complete breath. Am I getting into my chest? Am I getting into my diaphragm? And then am I engaging my core and relaxing my chest to continue? Good. Relaxing our arms to the side. When we're ready, we inhale, reach up to the sky. As we exhale, we take a gentle twist one direction, looking behind our body. So linking our breath and our movement. Inhale, reach, and exhale, twist. We're not pushing with the hands. We're just warming up the spine, kind of lubricating the spine, beginning our work. Inhale, reach, and exhale, look behind. And inhaling and exhaling. Our spine likes to do 4 things. It likes to rotate like this. It also likes to laterally flex. So let's reach in the center. As we exhale, place one hand down, leaning toward that side. Soft shoulder, soft elbow, long neck. Inhale and exhale, leaning toward the other side. A lateral flexion. Kind of moving up that mountain like we talked about, the sun part of Hatha Yoga, warming the body, increasing the energy, waking up the spine. When you're ready, we release our arms here. I told you the spine likes 4 movements, and if you've been keeping track, I'm going to move my mic up a little bit, sorry about that. If you've been keeping track, we've gone through 2. So we've done rotation, lateral flexion, and then 2 we might be familiar with are flexion and extension. So let's move on to all 4s. No matter where you are, maybe you've been sitting in a chair, join me here in all 4s. Now, if you need something for the knees, just bring this blanket or bolster down, kneel on it. If you have a true bolster and it's kind of high, you might want to just get padding, or you can even double up your mat, right? And get that for your knees. So hands right below shoulders, knees right below hips, working on just flexion and extension of the spine. As we inhale, drop the belly, gazing forward into cow, spinal extension. As we exhale, zip the belly, that diaphragmatic breath, tuck the tailbone under, chin to chest for cat, spinal flexion. Inhale and exhale. Now, if we have any wrist issues happening, like our wrists are telling us, hey, I don't love this position, Something we can do is make a fist out of our wrist, planting it down firmly. Make sure the fingers are tucked in. It's not a fist like this, right? We want to support our wrist. We can go here. Inhale and exhale, our choice. Holding in a neutral, our nice long spine position, zipping the belly a little bit. Inhale, reach one arm and opposite leg, and exhale, release. Inhale, lift other arm and opposite leg. Exhale, release. Little spinal balance. Inhale and exhale. Good. From here, sitting the heels back, reaching into child's pose. Now let me show you some variations of this. So one way is all the way down here. Sorry, get a little close up to the mic. All the way down, released into child's pose. However, maybe other things are happening. So maybe you want to take this lovely little bolster and put it back behind your knees to give yourself some room. Or maybe you want to take a block or a combination. Use a combination of these and give yourself some room. And really, you could like stack this all the way up, hands on. Maybe you take your bolster over the top. There's a million and one ways to do child's pose. Find the one that's comfortable for you. And this is going to be our go-to kind of a resting posture. I really apologize about the mic situation. It keeps catching on my shirt. Maybe if I do this. There we go. Right? So you have a lot of different ways that you can do child's pose. Don't let your body be the limiting factor. Look for a way to do something and celebrate what you can do versus sitting and being frustrated that there's something you cannot do. Moving all that stuff aside after child's pose, walking our hands forward into something called a kneeling plank posture. We're going to zip our belly. You can have toes down or up. I like to have mine down. It takes the focus off of the patella or the kneecap. Zipping the belly, kind of pulling it nice and tight right here, pushing the mat away, bringing the head slightly forward so we're strong in the back. We're not sinking through. We should be able to see the difference. Inhaling and exhaling, breathing. Now we're relying on that clavicular breath because our belly is tight. From here, we can bring our toes under. We're going to lower our chin to the ground. Keep our hips high. Knees, chest, chin. And then lower our hips down. And slide our elbows forward. Beautiful. That could be something new and different for you, but we just learned how to do knees, chest, chin. Pressing the toes into the mat actively, activating the lower half of the body. Roll the shoulders back, gazing forward, zipping the belly. Inhaling and exhaling into Sphinx pose. Now from here, continue to engage the lower body. That's where our toes are pushing down, our knees are off, our bottom is squeezing. And then lower ourselves to where our hands are by our shoulders and lift our body without pushing. So I can lift my hands at any time. This is baby cobra. You'll feel the lower back active and strengthened. From here, zipping the belly, squeezing the elbows in, bring the hands right by the chest. You might want to tuck the toes. Use the knees as a point of leverage to push ourselves up and back to child's pose, and just kind of a temporary child's pose. So wherever we are, we're letting our hands come out and we're just focusing on that traction with our hips back. Inhaling back into our modified plank. We're all here in that kneeling plank, everyone. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. And if you're like, this is kind of a struggle to get and hold this, then what I want you to do is just lower the body down and let the hips touch last. Yeah, inhale, lifting to that baby cobra. Exhale, pressing back to child's pose. We're gonna do that little Vinyasa, which is a link of asanas, our poses, one more time. Inhaling to a kneeling plank. Exhaling. Now let me show you something on this. Hi. Making sure that our elbows are rubbing into the sides of our body, not coming out here. Exhaling to knees, chest, chin. Inhaling to a baby cobra. Exhaling to child's pose. Back to the mat. Kicked all my stuff around. Moving into downward facing dog. This is an upside down V. Tucking our toes, pressing into our hands, bending the knees a little. We're going to create some traction in the shoulders where we're pushing away. Imagine that, your hands are glued to the mat, but your hips are being pulled up toward the sky. And it's not over the hands like plank is. It's back and through downward facing dog. Good. From here, bend one knee, then the other, just kind of walking the legs a little bit, waking the body up. In down dog. And I want you to drop the right knee and step the left foot through to a low lunge. Do whatever you need to do. Provide some cushion underneath the knee if you need to. Now this is why I wanted you to have 2 blocks. You have the option in low lunge to have a block on either side of your mat and support yourself in low lunge here. Here. See how I changed? Like this would be a tall block, medium block, low block, or floor. But you have lunge options. And then exhale, pressing back to down dog again, stepping back. Breathing. When you're ready. Left knee goes down, right foot steps in between. Starting with a nice high lunge. Notice I have this angle back here on my knee. If we're stacked here, it can start to be uncomfortable for our kneecap. We're putting all of our weight straight down. If we're forward a little bit, we're stretching, not only are we stretching the front of the body, but we're not putting quite as much energy into our kneecap. And again, you can use your 2 blocks or whatever you're using as a block to find your low lunge position. Now this is a kneeling low lunge. I'd like to invite you, if you want to lift the knee and just see what that feels like. Stepping forward into a forward bend. Now we're supporting. So again, we have our block, our 2 blocks. We might be supporting here or on our legs or on the ground, but wherever we are, we're fully supported. That's one of the big points of forward bend in a sun salutation. Bending the knees, flattening the back to come up, reaching to the sky, and exhaling to mountain. So we are learning poses today that are getting us ready to do a full sun salutation, which we'll be talking more about in Ashtanga Yoga. Inhaling, reaching to the sky. Exhale, circling the hands around, sitting into chair pose. Inhale and exhale, sit. Good. Continue reaching, circling and sitting. Inhale and exhale. Little chair flow, waking up the body. Inhaling, reaching to the sky. I'm going to show you from the side here. We can bring our hands together, zip the belly, press the hips forward into a little bit of a back bend, gazing between the hands. This is called a full sun. You can also just keep the arms up into an extended mountain pose. Exhale, bend the knees, sweep the arms to the side to flatten that back. It's called a swan dive. Exhale to a forward bend. You know where you need to go. If you'd like to use your blocks, Breathe. Step our right leg back. We have a low lunge. Now you can lift the knee or put the knee down. Either one works. Exhale, stepping back to a downward facing dog. Just adjust your blocks as needed. Inhale to that kneeling plank. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, lifting to a baby cobra. And exhale to a downward facing dog. From here, looking forward first. Then when you're ready, kind of get bouncy through the knees. Then take the right foot in between your hands. Now let's say it didn't go. Let's say we're like here and done. No worries, drop your knee, get the foot there, and then step into a forward bend. Yeah, it doesn't have to be as complicated as we want it to feel like sometimes. Inhale, flattening the back, come all the way up. Exhale into whatever kind of full sun or extended mountain we'd like to find and try. Inhale, lift. Exhale, dive. Arms to the side, flattening the back. Inhale, left leg goes back, low lunge. Feel free to use the blocks. Big breath. Hold here for a minute. We're not moving really one breath to one pose today. We're just kind of getting the basics down. Exhale, step to a downward facing dog. Inhale, kneel into a plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift using the back body without pushing, nice long neck. And this time we exhale to child's pose. We can set up if we need to, if we want to be here for a while. We can bring that bolster in. Another thing, I forgot to mention this earlier, but you can just take your knees and separate them wider. And that kind of gives your torso some place to go. So sometimes that's nice. Just that little change, little shift. Just a couple breaths. And then bring ourselves up. We're going to take our left leg forward. And then our right knee off the ground, but plant the back foot at a little bit of an angle and rise. You can use your leg to get up there. So you have an angle here, squaring our shoulder blades to the front of the mat. In our chest, our collarbones, all those things we talked about. Let your legs land where they land, but stay strong and energetic. This is warrior one. If we'd like, we can bring the hands just straight overhead. Bring your hands back to our hips. We're going to turn our feet perpendicular. So one toe, back toes are pointing to the long edge of the mat, front toes to the short edge. Warrior two. Arms are out, and it gives this illusion of moving forward, but we're really not. We're all stacked. Gazing at the fingertips of our left hand. Releasing our front hand, kind of elbow to leg, back hand straight to the sky for side angle pose. Notice we're not hunched down, we're not released down, we're active. We're pressing through, we're squeezing the shoulder blades together, we're looking up at our lifted hand. Hatha does have a lot to do with alignment and where our body is in space. Coming back to warrior two, if we need to, we can take a little break for our front leg and then bend it again. Releasing our back arm, taking this into a lateral flexion for reverse warrior. Remember, we practice that with the spine. Focusing on that front knee for a second, make sure it stays bent. A little lateral flexion over. And then back to warrior two. Straightening our front leg, hands to hips, turn the toes forward. Big shoulder roll back. Breathe, bring the heels in. Little squat down, inhaling up and exhaling in for sunflower. Continuing to warm through the body, still working through the sun portion. Focusing here on dropping the hips closer to the floor. Good. Complete breath using belly and chest. One more. And exhale, release. Knees are bent a little bit. Now rearrange as you need to. I'm just gonna switch to the other side. So we're starting in warrior one. Toes are forward, back foot is angled on this one. Chest is squared to the short edge of the mat. Rolling the shoulder back. Think about lengthening the spine. Bending the knee. Arms reaching to the sky. Again, this is warrior one or Virabhadrasana one. Sometimes you'll hear a lot of Sanskrit names. I try not to go too deep into that in my beginning classes, introductory classes, because it can be confusing if you don't understand. And I want you to understand. I want you to love yoga first, then learn more about it. Opening the arms to warrior two, you notice the feet turned back to that perpendicular stance. So just like Virabhadrasana one, Virabhadrasana two, warrior two. Allowing yourself to release and raise for side angle. Breathing. And really think about your neck here. We can gaze up at the hand, out or down. And I want you to do whatever brings pleasure to your neck muscles. They support your head all day, that you can give them a break. Coming back through warrior two. Keeping the front knee bent. If you want, you can do this straight and relax. And bend again, laterally bending into reverse warrior. And back to center, hands to hips, toes forward, then heels in. Inhale, reaching, exhale, we sit, squeeze the elbows down into moonflowers. Inhale and exhale. Our last kind of warming posture. Good, holding, releasing the hands. Now you might need a block for this. We're going into a standing wide leg forward fold. I'm going to grab a block. It's right center of your mat. So we're starting to kind of crest the top of that peak, going down into the moon part of class, the cooling part, the grounding part. Maybe holding poses a little bit longer and gradually longer as we go, but also focusing on things like a downward motion, right? Instead of being so lifted, maybe open, maybe we're starting to close and go to the ground. So turning our toes slightly in, what this does is it creates some safety for our knee. Hip likes to make circles, ankle likes to make circles, knees don't. Hands to hips, hinging forward, finding a standing forward bend. Now you can use the block, or you can just use the floor. And you can use any level of the block as well. So it's whatever you want. Once you get there, allowing your head to hang. Finding some deep breathing if you need to. You can bend your knees a little bit. If you're going to do that, turn your toes out just a little bit to get deeper in here, especially if you're feeling any pain behind your knee. Coming up, bending the knees, turning the toes out a little bit. We're going to take this block, or whatever it is into our left hand. Right toes to the long edge of the mat, left toes to the short, straightening both legs, reaching out as far as we can with this block. Reach, and then let it cartwheel down, putting it right beside our foot for triangle. Squeezing the bottom, raising the hand. Your goal is to be as stacked as possible. So sometimes what happens is we kind of round here and we find that everything's turning to the ground. So what you can do, you can physically go here, or you can just imagine finding a wall or back against the wall. My feet are a little away from the wall, just it's kind of happy for my spine. I slide out, then I cartwheel, and I keep my back, it's even a little bit better than I was, I keep my back up against the wall. And that's how I know that I'm doing triangle correctly. So you're welcome to try that. Maybe not today, maybe some other time. Or, pause the video, go do it now, and see how it feels. And then recreate it on your mat. Good, bending the knee, coming back to center. Let's pass it off. Switch the feet. Arms out, sliding forward. Notice what I did with the foot there. Double check your feet. Find this, squeeze, lift. We can look up, out, or down. Again, listen to your neck. Pressing, lifting that hand as if you're being pulled up a little bit. Then squeeze the bottom, shift the hips forward. It really helps create good space in the low back for triangle. Good. Breathing, breathing. Then as we release, we're going to step toward that front leg just for a little forward fold. Head down, relaxing. Hands to knees, bring yourselves up. So we're going to do just 2 balance poses very quick. And if you need, find a wall that's close and hold on to it with one hand, or maybe a chair that's tall, and try your balance that way. So bring all the energy onto one foot, it doesn't matter which. Our other foot, we're going to start with our ankle just above our knee. And I like to step off the mat, by the way. I like to be solid on the ground to practice my balance. It just helps me. You don't have to, but you might feel comfortable there. And if you're on carpet or something, just know you'll be a little bit more wobbly, but let's try this together. Heel above ankle, right? We got a little kickstand, a little emergency brake there. Shoulders back and down. And then without using your hands, let that foot travel up your leg. It can be above or below the knee, trying not to press directly on the kneecap. You can see already talking and balancing. Decide where you want to go. And your hands can do anything. They can rise up high. They can stop halfway. They can be at heart center, wherever you want them to go. This is tree pose. Then we're going to open the arms wide. From here, kick the leg out and just try to tilt a little into a star balance. Doesn't have to be big, it can be little. Grounding through that standing leg and then back to center. Release, good. Big shoulder roll up, back and down. Let's try the other side. Kickstand the foot first, lift, and maybe you want the arms to find their home before your leg. That's fine. Bring the foot wherever you want to bring it. Make sure we're not pressing on the knee. Finding that tree balance however you want to find it. Sometimes it's nice to press our hands together as hard as that foot is pushing on our leg. It creates this sense of the evenness through the body. Then arms out to a T. Can you kick out the leg? And can you find a star balance? Just a little lean to the side. Coming back to center. And release. Beautiful. Shake it out a little bit. Now, however you want to go down to the ground, I'm just going to sit down, but you know your body best. Have your strap close. We're going to use it. want you to take one leg out to the side. From here, square to the foot. Use your strap, pulling it around the end of the foot. Sit tall, pull, squeeze the shoulders back, and then bring the belly down to the thigh. You can also sit on the bolster if you'd like. Sometimes that helps. Holding that. Again, we're coming down into the very end of our practice. So we're holding things longer, we're breathing. And you might find that as you hold the pose, you're able to sink a little bit deeper into it. That's completely normal. You should feel that at some point. The reason we're using the strap is because if I told you to go for your toes, and some of you may naturally reach your toes, but people tend to kind of do this rounding thing. And I want you to, instead of thinking about touching your toes, they'll be there, right? Think about pulling your belly to your thigh. Your foot's not going to change. So whether or not you actually have toes, right? Your foot's not going to change. So me saying reach to your toes isn't exactly a very helpful cue. But folding in half is. Releasing that, and we're gonna just take this knee and bring it up. So we're seated here, hugging tight, wrapping your hand around, and then turning toward your knee. So sit tall, and then use your hand to help yourself reach back. We're gonna reach straight back with our hand. It's not going to the floor. We're practicing having that energetic twist. So reach through the hand. We can look behind us at our hand. Our foot that's on the ground, that straight leg, those toes are pointing to the ceiling. Lots of energy here. And then release back to center. Good, bringing the heels of your feet together. Sitting tall, keeping the feet flat together. Some people teach you to open a book. I like to stabilize the ankles, so I say bottoms of the feet together. Then just pull your belly in to your heels a little bit. Good. Sitting tall, let's go the other way. Same thing we did before, extending our leg, taking the strap out, pulling it around, rotating, turning toward this leg, zipping the belly, pulling ourselves in half. Let those shoulder blades kind of squeeze together. It's good for strengthening the back as well. It's okay to be a bit of a pull. It is. We want to strengthen the back. It helps open the chest. Finding that complete breath to help you breathe a little bit further into this, softening into the fold. I remember the first time I heard that, I didn't really understand what they meant. I think it's because I was a kind of go, 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 go person. And when I realized if I breathe and I close my eyes and I physically allow my body to relax and become what you might describe as softer, I could soften into a deeper stretch. So maybe you need to hear that today. Good. Sitting tall, relaxing, letting the strap go to the side, hugging the knee in, active through the toes, active through the twist, turning toward our knee, hugging, and then reaching behind our body, sitting tall, thumbs to the sky. Beautiful spinal twist. And exhale, release. We're going to bring our legs together in the center. Sitting tall, I'm going to go sideways so you can see what's going on. Sitting tall, reaching forward, kind of cupping my hands to the sky. I'm going to lean back just a little bit. Now from here, I can just hold this tension, scooping the belly, holding that diaphragm tight, breathing into the chest. Or if I'd like, I can lift one or both legs into a full boat pose. Balancing and breathing. I can also hook my hands behind my legs and hug here, focusing on that balance. Inhale and exhale. And then lowering the feet, hugging behind the legs, lowering all the way down to the mat. Relax. Take your feet out about as wide as the mat. And then we're going to let those knees just drop side to side. So a little release through the hips, internal and external rotation. Then I want you to let yourself lay however you're comfortable, maybe traditional Shavasana, where you're lying flat on the ground, maybe rolling to your side or maybe on your stomach, just a place that you find comfortable, and let your eyes close. Now again, you're going to be in your own head. I usually bring myself up to sit and give you a meditation in a way that I know you can hear me, but you find a place that's comfortable to relax onto the mat. Sometimes I tell people, think about a way that you naturally feel comfortable sleeping, and that will probably be your most relaxed place. Today, just working through a mindfulness meditation, allowing ourselves to focus on something and working on ignoring external distractions. So I want you to just start counting your breaths. However you want to breathe, inhaling 1, exhaling 1. Inhaling 2, exhaling 2. 3, moving all the way up to 10, all the way to 10. When we get to 10, we just start over. So there's not an end goal, it's just a focal point. If we get lost, right, like we tend to kind of drift off or we start to fall asleep, that's the hard thing sometimes for some of us, is learning how to have a focused meditation and not fall asleep. It's very relaxing for the body, and it's something we're going to learn, is to find that space of rest and not sleep. If we find ourselves drifting into that space, come back and just start back over at 1. No judgment, no competition. Perhaps we're opposite. Perhaps our mind is going a mile a minute, and all we're thinking about is everything else we could be doing. That happens. That's real. Some people fast forward the meditations. I hope that's not where you are, right? If that happens, we just start back at 1. It's okay for meditation to be the most challenging part of class. No judgment, just focus. It's okay for there to be a learning curve. It's okay to be still. It's okay to have something that's good for you in the middle of the day that requires you to decompress a little bit. Now, no matter where you are, breathing with me, starting at 10, inhaling and exhaling. 9, inhaling and exhaling, feeling the mat beneath you. 8, inhaling and exhaling, wiggling the fingers of our right hand. 7, inhaling and exhaling, wiggling the fingers of our left hand. 6, inhale and exhale, wiggling our right toes. 5, inhaling and exhaling, wiggling our left toes. 4, inhaling. Exhaling as we stretch through our arms and our legs, waking the body. 3, inhaling. As we exhale, if we're not already there, rolling onto our side in the fetal position. 2, inhaling. As we exhale, we open our eyes. And last one, inhale. As you exhale, push yourself up to seated. Thank you so much for your Hatha practice. I hope you felt the rise of the sun, the set of the sun. Now we're calm and still as the moon comes out. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.